Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be installing the front notch custom fender flares. This is part 2 of the green Cherokee Resurrection Series. In part 1, we installed the notch custom fender flares and the JCR quarter panel armor to the rear of the Jeep. It came out great. We still have a lot of finish work to do back there, but that'll be for a future video. For now, this video, we're going to be installing the front notch custom fender flares. The front compared to the rear is unarguably a lot easier. Like I said in part 1, the rear isn't difficult. There's just a lot more going on, a lot more that you need to do compared to the front. The rear is two pieces that need to be lined up with each other and the body lines on the Jeep, while the front is just a single piece. You figure out where you want it, drill the holes, make some cuts, and you're done.
Alright, so this was actually extremely quick. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know how long this video is going to be now. It's probably going to go by pretty quick. But there we are. We got all our holes drilled and first try. All those holes are drilled to 3/8, which is what Notch Custom recommends in the directions. And we didn't have to widen any of them like we had to do with the rear. This looks really good to start off with. So I think we're gonna hold off on marking the inside here on this fender and cutting that for now. I think we're gonna move on to the other side, get both of these bolted onto the Jeep, and then we can mark them and cut them.
I just took a time lapse of Ashton and I installing the passenger side fender flare, and then I went back to look at it, and it looks like it just took one photo. So that's too bad. It is what it is. But we did get this side basically in place and where it needs to be. It looks just as good as the other side. So now it's time to get the fenders cut out. I'm gonna go ahead and mark a line on the inside edge here, and we're gonna go ahead and take the cutting wheel and cut it right out. I started with the driver's side. I bolted down the fender flare to make sure it was a tight fit when I marked it for the cut. And then I used a Sharpie to make a line along the inside edge of the fender flare. This is where I'll make the cut. We've got both fender flares bolted onto the Jeep, and we've got the wheel wells cut out on both sides. It's looking amazing. Obviously, there's a lot of work that still needs to be done on this. There's a lot of body work that needs to be done. And before we go ahead and do all the body work and all the painting, I think we're gonna end up replacing this driver's side fender because it's actually damaged down here. It's cracked in two spots just from it not being aligned correctly and hitting the door when the door swings open. Now, the plan was already to paint these fenders, and if we're gonna go through all that work, I think I'm just gonna get a new fender for this. Doing the front flares was a lot easier than the rear like I suspected they would be. Like I said, there's only one piece here. There's not two pieces like the rear to line up and match together. So overall, it was just kind of a quicker process, if you will. I think for now, I'm done working on the flares. Eventually, when we come back to them, I think I'll even open up this wheel well a little more just so you can't see the fender behind it. And just so a bigger tire won't have any chance of coming into contact with this and, slicing it. Overall, I'm extremely happy with the Notch Custom fender flare so far. At this point in the series, we're gonna be shifting gears. We're gonna take a hard right turn. In the first video of this series, I think I mentioned about going with a bigger tire. Right now we got some 35s on here. I already talked about how we're gonna be putting different wheels on here, but I think I talked about putting 37s onto here. And right here you can see the difference. We've got a very worn out 35. This is off of my red Jeep. These are the 35s that belonged on the green Jeep. And then we got a 37. This is the spare tire for my Chevy out there. My plan was to put 37s on this, and that would kind of make me a hypocrite, if you will. In a previous video about a year ago where I talked about which axle is best for you, it was a Dana 30 versus a 44 versus a Dana 60. I'll link that video down below. I talked about how my max tire size on a Dana 30 specifically would be a 35-inch tire. That has always been my mindset, and then I started thinking I wanted a bigger tire and I was gonna throw on the 37s onto the Dana 30. That would make me a hypocrite as much as I wanna go 37s. So we're not going 37s anymore. We're gonna be going 40s, which means we definitely cannot keep the Dana 30 or the 488 here in the back. I've been out here working on the green Jeep, doing these fender flares and the armor for a couple weeks now. Not weeks straight, just after work a couple days during the week and on the weekends when I can. And these axles in the corner of my shop, underneath of my red Jeep in storage, have been staring me down. This right here is a set of Super Duty axles I've been holding on to for about 3 years now. I've talked about these axles in previous videos. I got them for a screaming deal that I just couldn't pass up, but I've never known what I wanted to do with them until now. I never had intentions to put them into the red Jeep, even though I consider the red Jeep to be more of the rock crawler over the green Cherokee, because I have a very specific idea of what I want to do to the red Jeep, and it doesn't include those axles. I think it's gonna be a really good fit to put those Super Duty axles underneath the green Jeep with some 40s. We've definitely grown out of the 35s at this point, and we definitely need a little more. I've always wanted to run 40s on a Jeep, so we're gonna be going that route. The purpose of the green Jeep is not going to change. This is our overlander. We take this Jeep on very long trips, and we're still gonna do that. The second purpose for it is we're gonna be doing a lot of snow wheeling in it. I wanna go out and find some really deep powder. We get a lot of snow here in Colorado. We went up to Washington about a year ago. We had a blast with a bunch of Jeeps. We were on 35s, and we went out with a bunch of Jeeps on 38s and 40s. It was a great time. It's insane what a vehicle can do in the snow on 38s or 40s compared to 35s. Now this is the original Dana 30 that I built for the green Cherokee about 3 years ago. Before we drove to the Rubicon earlier this year, I took the built Dana 30 out of my red Jeep and put it into the green Jeep. Well, now we're gonna be taking that built Dana 30 back out of this Jeep and putting it back into the red Jeep, and we're gonna be selling this Dana 30 along with this built Ford 88 in the back here. I already got someone supposedly coming to buy them, so that should pay for the coilovers. So for the rest of this video, we're gonna be taking the axles out of this green Jeep and doing some literal axle swapping between the two Jeeps. I have been waiting to 110 swap one of these Jeeps for a very long time now. I knew I eventually would, I just didn't think I'd be doing it right now or to this Jeep, our Overlander. I'm really looking forward to the direction this series is going now. This is now a Cherokee XJ 1-ton swap series. 1 hour, that's what it took to take the Dana 30 out of here. There's honestly, surprisingly, not a lot holding it into the Jeep, and it came out really quick. We got a few control arms right here, just 3. We got the track bar, the steering, and that's really it, I guess. Now this steering box came out of the red Jeep. It's got the hydro assist attached to it. This is set up for that Jeep over there for the Dana 30. So this is gonna go back into the red Jeep. We're gonna tap the old box for the green Jeep, and we're gonna get a new cylinder, and we're gonna be able to run hydro assist in the green Jeep once it's done. I think we're gonna end up pushing this axle forward a little bit, like an inch or 2 maybe, and that means we're gonna have to probably make some new control arms, which is too bad because we just made these right before Rubicon, but that's all right. And over here, we got the corridor of axles right now. So here is the Dana 30 that was originally in the green Jeep. This is set up with 48s. This is getting sold. And then this axle that we haven't taken out yet is the one getting sold. This is the Sterling 10.5 that's going into the back of the green Jeep. And then right here, I have a good comparison with the built Dana 30 that's going into the red Jeep that just came out of the green Jeep. And this is the axle, the Dana 60, the 2003 Dana 60 that's going into the green Jeep. I put them all over here so we can get a good comparison with them all next to each other. You can just see how massive this Dana 60 is compared to this Dana 30. Then over here, I actually have, this is an axle shaft out of that Dana 60, and then we got the Dana 30 axle shaft. You can just see the freaking difference. They're massive. And I think we're gonna be rebuilding these and using these. We're not gonna be going RCVs or anything like that. I think we'll be good with just some nice new Spicer U-joints in there. My plan of attack now is to move a few things. We're gonna get this motorcycle moved, and then we can put this Dana 30 underneath the red Jeep, get it sitting on its own weight once again. We can steal those jack stands, put them underneath the green Jeep. We can take out the rear axle of the green Jeep, and we'll be good to sell that, and then we can get the Super Duty tons under there. The reason I'm putting the red Jeep back together is I need the jack stands a ton for one, and I need a Jeep to drive at all times. I need a Jeep to go out wheeling with to continue making content for you. It's gonna be good getting back behind the wheel of the red Cherokee again. The green Cherokee is gonna be down for the first few months of 2024. It's too bad because there were a lot of trips Ash and I wanted to take it on during this time, but it'll be worth it. It's gonna be a totally different Jeep by the time it rolls out of this shop. 2024 is gonna be a great year. Once it's done, we'll be taking this old Jeep on a ton of epic adventures. The last thing the red Cherokee needs to get back on its feet is a new set of tires. Since the green Cherokee isn't going to need its 35s anymore, we're going to install them onto the red Cherokee's beadlocks and we can ditch the JL wheels. They're not new tires, but they do have a few more seasons left in them. I'm not taking these to a tire shop. I'm going to try some methods I've seen online to get these dismounted, so hopefully it goes smoothly. Mounting them should not be an issue though, it should be the easy part. First, I need to pop the bead. Jake and I used the Z71 to literally drive on top of the tire and weigh it down. With silicone spray and some persuasion, we were able to successfully pop 12 beads this way. After the first one, we got the hang of it and made good time after that. Now I need to remove 8 wheels from their tires. Out of this whole process, this was definitely the most difficult and the most dangerous. I used the engine hoist to pull the wheels out of the tires. Once again, after the first one, I got the hang of it and made good time doing so. I wouldn't recommend this method. There's a lot that can go wrong here, so if you're thinking about doing the same, I'd say just do a little more research than watching this small section of this video. Installing the tires onto the beadlocks is the simplest part. My method is to rest the wheel on a 5-gallon bucket and the tire very easily slips over the top of the wheel. This is because there is not much of a lip on the top like a usual wheel due to it being a beadlock. From here, it took about 40 minutes a wheel to install the beadlock rings. There are 32 bolts on each ring for these wheels in particular, and every one needs to get torqued to 20 foot-pounds. On a beadlock, once you torque a bolt, the previous will naturally loosen up, so you have to go around and around torquing each bolt until there's enough tension for them to stay torqued, and each one, in my case at least, is at 20 foot-pounds. I did all of this, filled each tire with air, and finally, the red Jeep is ready to hit the trail after many months in the shop on jack stands.
All right, so I think that just about wraps up this video. I know this was a very weird one. We were kind of going all over the place. Like I said, this is something I've been wanting to do for a very long time now, and I'm very excited to be able to share with y'all. Now we can use the red Cherokee to go on adventures while this thing is going to be down, because it definitely will be down for a couple of months. We're going to be doing this Cherokee right. We're going to be doing everything we want to it, basically all at once, hopefully at least. My wallet will probably actually decide that. I just got back out here from inside, ordering a lot of parts for this thing, and next week I'll be sharing that with y'all. I think you guys will like what I ordered. Once again, this is part 2 of the Cherokee Resurrection Series. Expect a video from me every single week until this thing hits the trail. That's the goal. As always, we appreciate y'all for watching. We'll see you out on the trail, and we'll see you next time.